Welcome back to the classic wing of the Hall of Origins. Today's character needs absolutely no introduction. He is the face of a gigantic corporation, the most popular rodent in history, the cartoon character all other cartoon characters wish they could be. Yeah, it's Mickey Mouse! I love him, you love him, we all love Mickey Mouse. But how many of us know of his humble beginnings and how he got so popular? The year 1927. Universal Studios, being the movie giant that it was, wanted to break into the animation business, but the thing was, they didn't have a cartoon character of their own. Enter the creative geniuses who would provide them with one, Walt Disney and iWorks. Now recently, these two had just ceased production on the Alice comedy shorts to try something new. And when they heard that Universal was looking for a new cartoon character, Walt Disney signed a contract to create them one. The result of this brought about Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Oswald became a hit and helped in the growth of the Walt Disney animator staff. But with the success came drama. Contract drama mostly. Well, to make a long story short, even though Walt Disney and iWorks created the character, Universal Studios still owned Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. And while a new contract was written up where Walt would still work on the character, but take a 20% pay cut, he refused to take the deal. Disney wasn't too happy about the offer, and rightfully so. He was basically losing control of something he created, and not only that, but most of his animator staff left to join his producer's company. Walt Disney is having a bad time. However, in the best use of the term, it's always darkest right before dawn. If the drama of losing Oswald taught Walt Disney anything, it was that when he created another character, the rights would belong to him and no one would be able to take it away. On his train ride back to California, Walt was thinking up possible character concepts when a mouse popped into his head. He made a quick sketch of his idea. Disney would later recall that the inspiration for the mouse came from his time back at Lapagram Studios, where he kept a pet mouse on his desk, and no doubt, amongst lots of other things in the artist's mind, this was a memory that sparked imagination. He showed the sketch to his wife Lillian, and told her that he was thinking of calling the character Mortimer Mouse. Lillian hated the name, and suggested Mickey instead. Now, it should be noted that the name Mortimer didn't go to waste, with it being used in the 1936 cartoon Mickey's Rival for a character who, well, served as Mickey's rival. This was also not Walt's first experience with animated mice. Back when he was doing the Alice shorts, one segment had many different mice characters performing in a room. I suppose one might say that these were the precursors to Mickey Mouse. You can definitely see the inspiration in the designs. So Walt Disney took his sketch of a mouse and gave it to iWorks, who made a more refined version. Mickey Mouse was now taking shape. Most of the design inspiration came from Oswald. Just change out the ears and tail and he basically had something new. Mickey's head is comprised of 3 circles, with one big circle for his head and 2 representing his ears. And honestly, I will admit, I didn't even notice that when Mickey turns or looks to the side, that his ears move to the back of his head until someone pointed it out. After that, I couldn't not see it. But I understand why they did it back then, and it carried over until today. For design purposes, it just looks better than having his ears side by side. Plus, in black and white, if they stayed on top of his head, looking at him from a side angle, it would just look like a black round knob on top of his head. So now that they had the look, they needed to add the character. Personality was something that differed for Mickey Mouse depending on the era. In the early days, he was more of a troublemaker, while in later years, more of a kind-hearted dreamer. Mickey would be described as a young boy with no particular age. He lives in a small town, clean-living, fun-loving, bashful around girls, polite, and as clever as he must be for the situation the story has put him in. And did he ever get into some kooky situations? The first cartoon that Mickey ever appeared in was a test screening called Plane Crazy on May 15, 1928. It involved Mickey creating his own airplane and flying it around, creating trouble. It is kind of cool that this plane still lives on today. In Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, the very plane Mickey creates in Plane Crazy appears various times in the show. This short also marks the first appearance of Minnie as well, who joins Mickey on his flight around the countryside. Mickey's personality in this cartoon was a little bit different than the shorts that would come after. He was portrayed as a mischievous rogue, which was closer to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit's character. It's quite possible that Plane Crazy started out as an Oswald story, but then found its way to Mickey. But unfortunately the short failed to acquire a distributor for it. But Walt tried again to procure a distributor with the second Mickey Mouse cartoon, The Galloping Gaucho. But just like Plane Crazy, no luck. It was around this time that Walt knew that he'd have to go about the whole situation in a different way for Mickey Mouse to succeed. Now, the previous year, in 1927, Hollywood saw the release of a film titled The Jazz Singer. This little movie starring Al Jolson was the very first film to have lip-sync singing by the main actor. And is it just me, or does Al Jolson look an awful lot like Agent Phil Coulson? Come on, guys, I can't be alone on this one. I mean, look at him. The Jazz Singer in the Marvel Cinematic Universe confirmed! The film was a big hit and gave Walt Disney a great idea. What if a Mickey Mouse cartoon displayed sound just like the Jazz Singer? As they say, third time's the charm. Enter Mickey Mouse's most famous cartoon on November 18th, 1928, Steamboat Willie, and its synchronized sound. In this delightful little short, Mickey Mouse is whistling away while he's steering a boat and is immediately sent below deck by Pete to get some work done. Oh, that Pete, always hatin'. The boat approaches a dock to get supplies and is on its way out when Minnie comes running up, but unfortunately misses the boat. But that won't stop Mickey, who gets her on by way of a crane. Can you say colossal wedgie? Jeez. And I love this part ever since I was a kid. When Mickey dances and opens his mouth, I don't know why, but I always found that funny. I still think it's funny. Now, I have to touch on this because this is kind of a controversial subject. Steamboat Willie has the recognition for being the first cartoon to have synchronized sound. However, this wasn't exactly the case. For around this time, Fleischer Studios had been experimenting with it a few years prior. Steamboat Willie became more popular, as most would say, because it did the syncing a little bit better, while others had the sound, but the syncing would become, well, unsynced. Okay, I brought it up, so now I don't get a million comments saying, Steamboat Willie wasn't the first. Man, YouTube can be a violent place. So Steamboat Willie was a mega success. It started a snowball effect that made Mickey Mouse famous, allowing even more shorts to be made, such as Mickey's first spoken words in 1929's Carnival Kid, where he's trying to sell hot dogs.
Hot dog, hot dog, hot dog, hot dog.
And his first colored appearance in the Parade of Award Nominees in 1932, where Mickey leads a parade of stars for the 5th Academy Awards. What would come next for the little superstar were decades of enjoyable shorts, TV appearances with the Mickey Mouse Club, and of course, merchandising. And man, was there a lot of merchandising. I'm willing to bet that all of us have something Mickey Mouse oriented in our houses somewhere. Even though by the mid-50s, Mickey Mouse had become the most popular cartoon character in the world, 1953's short, The Simple Things, marked the end of his original run in theaters. And even though the character would still appear all over the place, especially in the Disney parks, he wasn't in another film until 1983's Mickey's Christmas Carol, which was then preceded by other shorts like Prince and the Pauper, Runaway Brain, and Get a Horse, which used old recordings of Walt Disney's voice for Mickey. So what is Mickey doing today? Well, he still serves as the mascot of the entire Disney company with thousands of merchandise with his picture on it being sold every day. He still stars in cartoons with Mickey and the Roadster Racers and the Flash animation series, simply referred to as Mickey Mouse, which is reminiscent of the character's comedic roots of the 20s and 30s. Video games are still being produced with the usual critical acclaim. I mean, come on, Kingdom Hearts 3 is almost here! Can't wait! In closing, I think we should all remember what Walt Disney once said. I hope we never lose sight that it all started with a mouse. And this year also marks Mickey Mouse's 90th birthday. Happy birthday, Mickey. And here's to many, many more.